Hello. Today's teaching is going to be on the number one thing that can block us from the goals in healing milestones that we may not understand. So this teaching will be trauma trained, and I'm going to come from the lens of being an integrative practitioner and a somatic experiencing practitioner. I've worked with thousands of individuals over the last 15 plus years in integrative healing, mentoring, and advising. So the number one thing that we don't really understand at first when we have a goal or we want to reach the next healing milestone um, is really around our somatic capacity to be able to have that goal or milestone really be embodied or kind of have the somatic capacity for that to be realized. And the other thing that's really hard is that much of the world is not trauma informed. And so often goals are, number one, unrealistic, and they are very superficial, and they do not include the body. If someone comes from, if they come from a history of chronic stress, if they have a trauma history, if they're neurodivergent, or they're dysregulated, our nervous system has to be able to embody not only the goals and what that means for us, but we also have to be able to process that level of stimulation. Now, a lot of times people have never heard the concept of good stress, but there is a concept of good stress. And from a neuroscience perspective, our body not only is not only impacted by the past with levels of stimulation, but everything comes with levels of stimulation. Even good things come with stimulation, and the body must be able to respond and metabolize that stimulation, even if it's a good thing. So everything is stimulation. Everything. My voice is a level of stimulation. This video screen that you're watching it on, that's a level of stimulation, and our body has to be able to process that. And not everyone's body processes, in real time. Some people can have delayed processing because of trauma and neurodivergence, but it doesn't matter because we need to be able to process the goal or the healing, the next milestone. And a lot of times people's goals are unrealistic because it's really masked perfectionism. And the milestone is often very ambiguous, and it doesn't include embodiment or somatic feeling at all. It is often very cognitive. And if you come from having a trauma history, the goal can, for some goals and some milestones and achievement, come with perhaps being seen and being recognized. And for someone who it was problematic in the past to just be a person, that goal can come with not only the future stimulation, but the past trauma residue of the echoes of trauma. There can be levels of ancestral trauma as well that most people can't recognize that are holding someone back from the goal. Maybe it's around belonging or worthiness. A lot of it is also around feeling safe, feeling seen, mattering, and belonging. Some people have learning trauma, and there can be some goals that are really hard to reach for that. Making it harder is the way that our world teaches us that goals are all or nothing. And when you are healing, to make it more trauma informed, it is moving 1% more towards a goal. Or maybe moving more towards healing. And we really want to break down, what does healing mean? Well, healing means wholeness, and wholeness includes qualities like curiosity, connection, creativity, compassion, playfulness, um, self-care, those types of things. And trauma and conditioning, chronic stress makes us think in these all or nothing kinds of ways where you're either I'm either whole or not. But as we heal and we move towards the goals, we are moving closer towards it in degrees. And so something that we can start to get really curious around is practicing a little bit more, moving a little bit more towards a goal, and practicing the embodiment of the healing qualities that we are desiring to bring into our day-to-day experience. The other thing I want to mention is around neuroception. So our body may stop us unconsciously because that's how the autonomic nervous system works. The nervous system works and it connects your mind and body and your physical health and your patterns in very unconscious ways, because it's autonomic, meaning it's automatic. And some of these patterns that live in our health, live in our life, and can be echoes of ancestral trauma, can be the residue or of collective trauma, and it can be, of course, our own individual experience. And a lot of times, what folks think are triggers are really trauma reactivations, ancestral echoes, the past playing out now, and neuroception cues. So, what is neuroception? Neuroception is a neuroscience term that describes the things that are going on inside our body, our emotions, our bodily process, what's happening in our internal landscape, and then what's happening out in the world around us. So, the immediate world around us, but also the larger world around us, the universe, the world. And also what's happening in between relationships that we're witnessing, and relationships between us and other people, whether that be a paid person or maybe something you know personally. So these neuroception cues are also in the here and now. And to make it even more nerdy, new research is coming out showing us that some neurodivergent individuals are also feeling the future here and now. ADHD is very classic with this. ADHD is either it's now or not now. And so when someone's looking at the future with ADHD, it's from that perspective. And future feeling into that. And so it's really, really important to really break down what the goals are and to notice what part of the goal is blocking you, because it may be a step in the process that someone may need to reach out for help with something because they don't know, and that may be scary or bring up terror for them, or freeze or avoidance, or list any flavor of some sort of trauma response, because of their experience with asking for help, or because maybe they come from a neglect and they have to be ruggedly, hyper individualistic and do everything themselves, or they have been harmed by people in positions of authority. And so that can be really, really hard. It can also be something where someone may just not know how to do that stuff because they've never reached that goal before. And so our body, the final piece that I want to put this together before the teaching, our body is going to respond in the here and now to things that have happened in the past unconsciously. And that can start sabotaging our goals unconsciously because we haven't created enough embodiment and practiced enough embodiment from the somatic level to get underneath the patterns. Somatics provide the way to get underneath the trauma echoes, whether it's personal, ancestral, or collective, to get under the echoes that are looking like your health, that are looking like relationship patterns, workplace patterns, that are looking like thoughts, limiting beliefs, that are looking at patterns of avoidance, addictive patterns, compulsions, behaviors, posture, your affect. All of that starts at the autonomic level. And when we start to do more embodiment, more somatic practices to get to that embodiment level, we can start to notice those patterns. Because a lot of times people are not even aware, of course they're not, because it's unconscious, of the patterns that are blocking them from the goals and the qualities of healing that they're reaching for. Because we have to be able to, we can't go from where we're at right now to 100% capacity with, let's say, compassion, right? We can't start with like, I'm 0% self compassionate to expect healing is going to go from zero automatically right to 100%. No, it's going to go from 0 to 1 to 2 to 3. It's loading. So are all of the other qualities are loading, but they're not loading from the cognitive level. They're loading from the procedure level, from the body level. The body, because the body holds not only the blockage, but it also holds the secret to embodying our next level of healing and our goals. Because we have to be able to, let's say we set a goal for finishing a course online and starting to work in a different field. We have to be able to see ourselves in that and practice before we become that, because sometimes people will finish a course or they will achieve some sort of fitness goal, or they will accomplish another goal, and they get to the end but they can't connect to the experience. Number one, it's all about the journey anyway. It's not about the end, but that's for a whole other talk. But they're not able to connect. There's this level of kind of like dissociation, or people feel like they're faking it till they make it because they're not embodying it along the way. And sometimes limiting beliefs are getting in there at the body level. And so when we don't practice at the body level, there's a ton of self-sabotage that pops up. There's a ton of trauma responses that kind of get in the way. There's and that's why a lot of people do not keep going on their goals and they abandon it, because of the level of stimulation, because of what it might mean if they do achieve the goals. A lot of times, people obviously have fear around negative experience, but they're also fearful of what will happen if they reach their goals. And most people aren't aware enough to know that, because reaching the goal means that they would belong or matter. And that is going to trigger all this vulnerability in someone. And I'm not saying that they have to achieve a goal to belong or matter, but that might be what a part of them believes that might mean for them. And they may feel that this traumatized part that's frozen, in time at this younger age, that may have these limiting beliefs around I'm not good enough, I'm bad, those sorts of things that they're not able to connect to the end goal of it. And the other thing is that the goal is not really measurable. Like it's not in a way that is trauma informed, because it ends up more about being about the goal rather than being with the process. Because when you are somatically with the process, then you can make a really realistic goal that goes along with your process embodied, rather than forcing yourself. And so many trauma survivors have this feature in their nervous system where they override. And so constantly we have to work on the overriding patterns, so that we can understand what our internal boundaries are, because there may be a piece of trauma physiology that's actually blocking the manifestation of the goal or the healing outcome. Finally, the last piece is that a lot of people confuse healing with being perfect. And there is no way out of this human experience, because when you heal, especially when you heal somatically, you're going to feel everything more. The good and the bad, but at the end of the day, you're not identifying as if you are your feelings. You are the observer of the feelings. You're the feeler of the feelings, just like you're noticing clouds in the sky, you're noticing the weather move through your body. But when everything is stimulation, a lot of times people do not notice that it is highly stimulating to achieve a new goal or move to the next level of healing. And we have to have enough embodiment so we don't go into fight or flight, freeze, dissociate, fawn, flop, in collapse, or self-sabotage, because self-sabotage is a part of us that's still struggling, that needs to be witnessed and needs to be kind of loved and brought into uh, ourself, to be able to hold that, to move that tender part of us through the process. And that comes with getting to know and getting to listen to the body. So I said all of these words, right? I said all these words about somatic embodiment. And the reason that I keep showing up on various platforms to teach is because there's not enough education around the nuance around healing, wholeness, and wellness. And we also need to practice together so that we can understand what I'm even talking about, because it doesn't even make sense. Now, this is a recorded video. It's not going to be the same as if I was sitting there one-on-one with you to tailor the practice exactly towards your nervous system. But this is something that we can start to practice online together and to get curious about. And if embodiment practices are something that you're not quite ready for, maybe just listening and getting curious about that. And if you do want to practice, it's just going to be a short 2-minute practice here at the end. And I invite the flavor of curiosity just in your body, in your mind, to come and visit you, because curiosity is a part of our authentic nature, our true nature. And we can't be fully in a trauma response when we're curious. So let's get curious together. And just feeling in your body from head to toe what curiosity feels like. Oftentimes, a lot of us were never shown any embodiment practices or emotional practices. So it's really good to just kind of feel around and get to notice what that feels like inside, to get curious. Some anchors could be what's holding you, could be the earth below you, pressing your feet into the earth, knowing that the earth is there to support you, that the sun is above you or moon is above you. And then whatever you're sitting, standing, or laying on is below you. So letting gravity sink you into your body a little bit more, maybe just 1% more, just sinking in. So feeling through your whole length of your body, your feet, and through your spine. So creating some space in the spine, moving your spine, permission to move, to create some space between head and feet, and feeling the inside of your body from the inside out. And you can say here to yourself, putting one hand on your heart, maybe another hand on your belly, saying, I'm just practicing. When you fit, you're really saying that to yourself inside. I'm learning to listen inside. And you could say to yourself, I'm learning to practice blank. Like I'm learning to practice being blank, 1% more blank, curious, maybe 1% more showing up for my goals. Whatever that is, saying that to yourself and just saying it to your body, I'm practicing being 1% more curious and feeling what that's like. A part of you may pop up and say, this is stupid, or it'll never work. And you can just say thank you to the part for keeping you safe and coming back into the earth below you, the full length of your body from the inside out, your hand on your heart and belly. And you can add, if that part is really noisy, you can ask it to step back or come back close to your heart a little bit more, and that you're going to take care of it. And again, just mentioning to your body, I'm just practicing feeling what 1% more curiosity or compassion 1% more showing up for myself might be like from the inside, and seeing what that's like. If we had more time and we were practicing together, we could perhaps investigate what specific block is showing up for you. And that's the work that I do one on one with clients online. And for now, this is just a free resource. Take what's for you, leave the rest. If you're looking to find more information, I'm on several different social media channels at the Integrative Practitioner. My website is theintegrativepractitioner.com. I'm Shannon. Thanks for practicing with me. I'll see you next time.